Hey Bonbini everybody, welcome to part 2 of diving in the Dominican Republic. Dive in the wall still, and this is kind of where we left off. More smooth pufferfish right there, see that little smooth pufferfish swimming around. So I'm breaking all these up into, there's another bicolored damsel. Can I get a sentence out without seeing a new fish? I'm trying to break these up into parts, so if you choose you can watch them all together, but you don't have to. There goes some brown chromis, I believe, and there was another little damsel there, maybe a dusky, I'm not sure. There's a yellowtail damsel swimming down there. A lot of damsels. Very nice. Ooh, that looked like it might have been a hamlet, that fish that swam off to the upper left. Wasn't on there for very long. So yeah, so we're getting a little bit shallower, I think, and that's why we're starting to see more fish as we go up a little bit to a little less depth. Then the fish start to show back up. There's a French grunt and another little, I think that's another, it might be a, I don't know, the damsels are tricky. I'd have to really figure that one out. That might be a yellowtail damsel there. Looked like it had a little yellow on the tail. We're still on the wall. We're just kind of up at the top of it here. So you can see how territorial those little damselfish are, though, as they swim around. Now, if you've watched my video of the Dominican Republic from the Vista vlogs, you will know what's coming up here. There's going to be a little dance. Charlie's going to do a little dance. I did a little dance. There we go. Dance, Charlie, dance! Pretty cool. I think I danced too, but I must have kept this camera really steady considering that. So good on me for that, I guess. Did you see that little damsel picking up something? Like he picked up a little piece of coral or something and he was moving it out of his way. Kind of a neat thing. But look at how the amount of fish is really changing as we get into this shallower water. It's pretty dramatic. You might notice other things too. It's getting a little bit lighter as we get into shallower water. I don't remember the depth here, but I'm guessing we're probably at about 25, 30 feet maybe at this point. There's a lot more color. I mean, this camera does a really good job of compensating for the blue, because basically what happens is red light just doesn't make it through the water. It gets filtered out, so the camera kind of adds the red back in and sort of compensates for that. Same thing a red filter would do, only this one can change it up a little bit to make it, I think, a little more accurate, and then cut it out when it gets to the surface so you don't get pink out of the water. You might get it for a second while it kind of adjusts, but it'll usually figure it out and give you the right colors. It's our dive master making sure everybody's okay. So if you go on one of these dives, they're gonna ask you if you're okay. Oh, there's a parrotfish down there. They're going to also have you tell them your air. So that's another bit of signing you have to know how to do. Is how to tell them how much air is left in your tank. So in there it looks like he's putting a weight on Charlie. Charlie was floating a little bit, kind of help him out. What happens is as you deplete the air in your tank, you become more buoyant. So sometimes that means that you need a little bit more weight to keep you down. That's what was happening to Charlie. So the dive master, that's another advantage. If you don't dive a lot, you may not know how much weight you need, especially if you don't normally dive with like aluminum tanks, which these were aluminum tanks. So the dive master is going to be there to kind of help you out if you get into that situation. At least hopefully they will be. This is really nice looking though. I love it. It's just thick. It's just covered. Every centimeter is covered with organisms. It's just really cool. This little yellowfish. Again, I think those are probably little bluehead wrasse. They might be yellowhead wrasse. A little yellow with a little bit of dark markings on them. Sea fan. Sea fans are called soft corals, and that's a little bit misleading. I mean, coral is a very general word, or can be when used just in the common sense. There are hard corals and soft corals, and they are in the same phylum, Cnidarian, or Cnidaria, I should say, but very different animals. You know, it's like saying chordates are the same phylum. That would be amphibians, fish, reptiles, birds, and mammals, but obviously a mammal and a fish are two very different things, and soft corals and hard corals are fairly different things, but we still call them all corals. You kind of get that perspective up at the top of the wall, that drop off. You can see some divers down there below. That is a yellow-tailed snapper that is swimming in front of the camera there. Another sign that we're getting closer to the surface, as I usually see those guys in shallower water. And these are mostly little bicolor damsels swimming around, and some more blue chromis. I want to repeat what these are, because I'm hoping that if you are interested in watching these, one of the reasons you may be watching is so that you can learn some of these fish. So I realize I'm saying the same ones over and over again, but I'm hoping that that will help you out, and then you don't just hear it one time, and if you missed it, you're like, man, he said that like 3 videos ago. He said what that blue fish was, but now I got to go back and find it. Well, I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm gonna try and give you the info as it comes, so that you won't have to do that. I can tell you that the sharks at the aquarium where I work apparently find yellowtail snappers quite tasty. I think I mentioned that in one of those snorkeling videos. Because whenever we put them into their aquarium, they get eaten. So, yeah. Don't be a yellowtail snapper, I guess. At least not in the aquarium world. But yeah, look at all the intricacy of this coral reef. So many living things in one little condensed spot. Now see that fish swimming across there? That is a rock hind. If you watched the snorkeling videos from Grand Turk, we saw a red hind. So this one's different. The way I know that is by looking at the tail, the markings on the tail. They don't have the dark margins, but they did have this blotch that's on the back. And then there's the shape of the tail. So you have to put all these things together to really figure out which species it is, because there's 3 or 4 species that look very, very similar. Without seeing all those characteristics, you may not be able to identify them. Now, sometimes you'll see one that's just really popping certain colors. There's a good example of a blue-headed wrasse and some of the juveniles there. And then that blue tang just swam by to the left. And there's a little brown chromis and some little blue chromis. Now we are up on the top, so we're not quite leveled off. We're still going up, but it's a very gradual slope. And so, I mean, look at the difference. This is what I'm talking about. There is such a huge amount of difference in the number of species up here. The biodiversity, and the biomass are much greater, especially the biomass, though, because there's just, when it comes to fish specifically, there's just so many more fish up here on this top area. Look at all of them. Such an important ecosystem. So important. And beautiful. Now, I haven't noticed anything in this video, but it is not unusual for me to be watching videos back that I shot and find things that I didn't even see. In Curacao, this happened, and there's an eel. If you guys watch it when I get those edited, or if you watch the current Vista vlog from Curacao, I even slowed it down and everything so that you guys could see it. But yeah, there's a snake eel in there. Had no idea it was there. Swam right by it, and then I was editing the video, and boom, there it is. But that is not that strange of an occurrence for me. Because I mean, look, it'd be so easy to miss something amongst all this stuff. See the little bright electric blue spots on that damsel? Now that stripy fish that went by, that was another juvenile species of parrot. I didn't catch which species. And there were also some fish that swam by with a white spot on their peduncle. That's the space between their tail fin and their back. And I believe that was a surgeon fish, an ocean surgeon fish. We'll see. I've seen them a couple times, but they've been on and off so quickly, and I didn't even want to point them out because it'd be hard to catch. Even if you paused it, you wouldn't see them very well. So we'll see one again. If it was a surgeon fish, and I think that's what those were. Maybe not in this video, but not that unusual of a species. Look at all the behavior going on here too. This is another cool reason to scuba dive, or even if you're snorkeling, it's a good reason to just take your time and check things out, because there's a lot of territory being disputed. There's a lot of little communication going on between these different species of animals. And if you sit there and watch for a while, and there is a smallmouth grunt with the stripes going down its body. And if you watch, every now and then you'll see a little fish. There's one right in the middle, yellow with like a black spot on it. And that is actually the juvenile phase of a 3-spot damselfish. So when they're older, they're just kind of, we've probably seen one, and I might have misrepresented it because they look very similar to a lot of other damsels like cocoa damsels and even the yellowtail damsels. There's several species of damsels that we've seen that I haven't been able to point out specifically because they are very similar, so you really have to sit there and ID them for a second to figure out which one you're looking at. But the juvenile of the 3-spot is very distinct, so you can really tell. That's fire coral right there. Don't touch it. Don't touch any of it, but especially that. This is kind of the area when we got here, I was like, man, I wish I could have... Oh, there's a trumpet fish. I wonder if it's the same one we saw earlier. I just want to hang out in this area and just kind of float there and observe, let everything get used to me so that's not gonna be afraid, and yeah, just really enjoy it. Just trying to get that trumpet fish a little bit better on camera. You could probably freeze frame one of these sections like here, and you could probably just find dozens of species of invertebrate animal here. That's Charlie. Charlie's telling me to go up. Now, remember how I said we have to do a safety stop? One of the cool things about this dive is that we kind of swam in the shallow water for a little bit. Now we're probably in about 15-20 feet of water. So we're kind of doing the safety stop instead of being like just floating and hovering there, which is, you know, not as exciting. You could just hang out down here and look at stuff. There's a yellowtail damsel and there's a little 3-spot damsel, and you're getting your safety stop in. Oh, there's a squirrel fish. See that? I didn't key that one out either. There are squirrel fish and soldier fish, and they look very similar. They're just different names for very similar species of fish. And there are some smaller ones called cardinal fish. But that was not a cardinal fish for sure. Little juvenile bluehead wrasse. It's crazy to think that thing's going to turn into that fish with the bright blue front, then like a black and white and black bars, and then yellow in the back. But that's what it is. I thought I looked different when I was younger. I remember thinking at this part of the dive, man, I wish we could have just hung out here the whole time. There's so much stuff going on here. I didn't want to leave. I did not want to get out of the water, and I had pretty good amount of air left. But alas, we did have to go back up to the surface. Well, this is going to bring us close to the end of this particular dive. So I just want to take a minute and say thank you for watching. And like I said earlier, if you do enjoy these videos, please let me know. Please comment below to let me know so I know to keep making them. And also hit that thumbs up so that I am also aware that you guys are enjoying this. And consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell notifications so you know when a new video comes out from the Cruise Geeks. You know all this stuff, right? But seriously, thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, comments about any of the stuff that we're looking at here, please don't hesitate to ask or let me know. Oh, hey, there's a bonus Tinophore. Tinophore, that little plasticky looking thing, relative to the jelly, but they don't sting. All right, well, I better wrap this up. So thank you again. And until the next part, which will be a new dive site, still Dominican Republic, have a fantastic day.